Hey guys, welcome to video number 1. In this one today, we are going to focus on AI images. Now, there's a lot of talk out there about AI, artificial intelligence, right? And there's so many things you can do nowadays thanks to AI. But I want to focus today on a little piece, which is AI images, right? Because this is one that I see a lot of my fashion entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of designers and a lot of fashion brands, and they're putting it into practice, these things that I'm going to share with you here today, and they're having a big impact. So I want to focus on that today. So when I'm talking about AI images, these are images generated by artificial intelligence. So how does this work? Well, you choose an AI app or tool, right? And I'm going to share some with you later in the day. Okay, so do not worry. But whichever you use right now, if it has the capability to create images for you, you can test this out. Okay, so you give a prompt to the AI and you tell it, how do you want these images to look, right? How do you want them to look? How do you want the style? How do you want the setup? How do you want all of these details, right? The style, the colors, things like that. And you're going to include your pieces of whatever you're selling, right? Your collection or whatever it is that you're selling. And even if you're offering a service, right? Maybe you don't need the particular product. Maybe you do have some products that you offer. Maybe you don't. You can still use this prompt. You can tell the AI, what do you want, right? And then the AI will generate these images for you. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Well, traditionally, right, if you are a fashion brand, right, specifically if you're a fashion designer, right, you come up with your collection and then you have to take pictures of your pieces so you can share them with the world. Create a catalog. You can send proposals to different retailers if you're looking for people to carry your brand, or you need pictures for social media, right, or for your website, for your online store, or whatever it may be, right? And I think that you still need to make that investment of working with a good photographer that would take those very nice pictures, right? Because lighting and all of that stuff is super important. Once you have those images, right, then you can come up with a whole world of images that can really push the brand forward, okay? So I'm talking here about catalogs, the lifestyle aspect of a catalog, or maybe editorial images, or also, campaigns, things like that, that you can create with AI. So if you don't know me, my background is in fashion and in TV. I am a wardrobe stylist and I have styled many fashion shows. I work in a lot of catalog shoots, in a lot of video shoots. I dress people for events and things like that. So that's a passion of mine. I love dressing people. I love putting together outfits and styling people and putting them on the runway or in a photo shoot or whatever it may be, right? So no one, understands, more than me, the power and the beauty of doing that, right? But I also understand that it's very costly, especially for the brands starting out, right? And it's something that they cannot do all the time, right? So this is where this comes in. I'm not saying do not do like your photo shoot that you're doing once a year, let's say, right? To come up with these beautiful images and stuff. I'm just saying do your catalog, take your pictures, hire your good photographer and take pictures of your items, but then work with these items and create this world that your brand represents, right? Which is at your fingertips. Before, you had to schedule a shoot and go to a particular location and bring the models and everything. And again, you can still do this, right? Once a year, right? Like you're doing it now, right? Or twice a year. But then in between, you can create all this content, especially nowadays where we are consistently sharing content on social media to get the brand out there, right? And it's a fun way to also represent the brand. Like, I don't know about you, but for example, whenever I used to see an ad of Dolce and Gabbana, for example, in a magazine or in a billboard or whatever, right? This vibe, this Italian vibe of having fun and beautiful colors and being in Italy and being kind of carefree and all of this stuff, right? it's the feeling of the brand, right? It's the identity. And for you as a small brand to recreate something that represents your brand, sometimes it takes a lot of money to make that happen. But with these tools, you can infuse those images with that kind of thing, right? You can infuse it with your own flavor, with your own point of view, right? So I'm talking about using these tools to generate images that you can share on social media, that you can share on your website, that you can share in different places to represent what your brand is all about, what that lifestyle is all about, what the customer in that situation wearing that beautiful piece of yours, right? Or if you're selling a service or you're a stylist like myself, what you in motion would look like, in a runway doing your work, or in a closet fixing a closet, like different things. You can play around with these things, okay? And again, yes, you can capture the real moment, right? But you can also use this, right, to represent in a magic way what the brand is all about, okay? So you just have to be a little creative, okay, and not eliminate completely the real deal, right? But also, be able to infuse it as an add-on, right, to create these images to capture the essence of the brand and to share it with your audience, okay? So the next thing is, so one is maybe for catalogs, right? For lifestyle pictures, for editorials to share on your website, right? To represent the brand for social media, right? And the other thing is creating specific social media content, okay? So social media gives you the opportunity to connect with your audience, right? All day long. Okay. So if you're a small brand and you don't have a brick and mortar store where you talk to people, or you do, but maybe there's not much traffic in your store and it's hard to bring people in, or whatever the circumstances are, right? Social media is something that everyone's on all the time, right? And it gives you the opportunity to talk to people all over the world who could be your customer and connect with them, right? So people think it's not personal, it's not the same as person as having a conversation, and that's true. But if you infuse your essence into it and you are personal, right, then you can turn it into that, right? It could be the next best thing, right? Next to having that conversation in person, or touching that fabric in person, or looking at the final product in person, right? So a lot of people, they are very cold on social media, and they're just putting images and they're just sharing these texts and buy here and buy there. But if you infuse the humanity aspect into it and you add the personal touch, and some people, for example, have a lot of success adding their humor into it, or the humor of the brand, or the lifestyle of the brand, right? All these elements create that connection with your customer, because your customer starts to understand who you are and where you're coming from, or what the brand is about, the values that you have. So you can turn it into something personal, and then you're going to need images to represent these things, right? And then this is going to help you with that, because you're going to be able to generate all these images with just a few clicks here and there, right? So I've seen, for example, a lot of brands use it for humor, right? So they can create these crazy looking images, things that perhaps don't go with the reality, right? That gravity doesn't support, or logic doesn't support. But you can create memes, you can create jokes, you can create funny situations, right? That go exactly with your brand, that go with your customers' humor. And I'm using humor as an example, but it can be anything, right? It can be about your love for fashion, it could be about your love for the ocean, if that's what your brand stands for, right? That you give to a particular charity and you support a particular cause. So there's so many things you can do, right? Because maybe right now you're limited because you don't have professional images, or you don't know how to take good pictures, or you don't know how to put it all together. But maybe with the help of AI, you can. Okay, so that's another thing. You can use it for social media to generate content, so you can post all the time like you should and connect with your audience, right? And just add that personal touch. Yes, the AI will create the image according to what you tell it to create, right? But then you add your personal touch, right? By you giving the instructions, you giving them the point of view, you writing the tags and connecting with people, okay? And then the last one would be images that perhaps you need for professional stuff. So maybe you need a professional headshot, or maybe you need a professional image for your website, or maybe you need a presentation, like a business presentation of your brand. All of this can be done with AI, right? So again, you can incorporate, you can have the original images of your photo shoot that you have about your pieces, and you can have a photo shoot, you know, of you physically, right? Your headshot, right? From your photographer that you trust. And then you can take those images and mix them with this in a nice setup, in a different setup, right? In jokes, in you know, I don't know, stylish memes, in whatever it is that you can think of, okay? And then create those images to connect with your audience. So let me know how this sounds. I think, you know, a lot of us, you know, some people are like super excited about it and they're using it to the max and maybe even too much, right? They're like, they have abandoned everything and just do so AI, right? And of course, there's, you know, that line of like where, you know, it ends your authenticity, and then the machine just doing the stuff for you. But in this case, I'm telling you to use it for your benefit and for you to infuse the authenticity and the character of these images, right? I'm not saying have the machine create all this stuff for you that has no connection to you or the brand and just to share for sharing, right? We're talking about having an assistant, an image photographer, in a AI, and work together, collaborating into creating these amazing images, whether it is for a lifestyle picture, right, to represent your brand, to show your audience what it's like to wear this brand, right? Or perhaps, you know, to connect with them on social media, or maybe to turn it into send a beautiful presentation to be included in this particular store, or whatever it may be, right? So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be sharing some tools. Let me know if you're using these already, if you have tried any AI tools to create any images, and if they have been good for you. I have to say I've been using one called Flux, and because I've been trying different ones, but this Flux one has been the one that is like more accurate. I like to create images that look real. I don't like the, you know, the fake look, but everyone's different, right? And you can try it as many as you want, right? For you to figure out which one works best for you. Also, which one takes more like the information, takes well the information that you're giving right to them. And yeah, so I'll be sharing some tools. If you are using some already, please let me know if you recommend any in particular, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I hope that this was helpful, and let's continue the conversation in the group. Okay, bye guys.